Hi, welcome. I'm Kogi Tui. Welcome again to the Unscrambled Manifesto of Africa. Today we are going to talk about independence. The independence we got from our colonialists as after they left Africa and left us with the puppet estates, the African puppet estates, or APE if you like. The only true independence that Africa ever enjoyed was before colonization, when various tribes or nations lived in their own organized setups, systems of governance. The other kind that came after colonization was a fallacy. We only took it to be independence since it was better than the yoke of slavery that we had been rudely been subjected into after our stubborn, pristine Stone Age dream was abruptly cut short. You see, since the general theory of relativity by Albert Einstein, we can correctly say that time in Africa moved with a slow speed. Indeed, we had some iron tools, but we largely depended on stone ones, especially to grind grains. Africans still adorned dried skin from wild and domestic animals as clothing. We had not bothered to invent writing, and we depended on oral literature through stories, poems, and songs to pass culture to the next generations. Things like gravity, stars, flora and fauna species, seasons, geometry, movement of the earth, the sun, or the moon did not bother us for a long time. In fact, my great grandfather, born around 1858, 21 years before the birth of the great Albert Einstein, or exactly the same year in which the German theoretical physicist Max Planck was born, was mainly involved in the tussle of converting more forested land into rudimentary agricultural land. He was also a warrior, remembered in the Kikuyu nation as the last age group to carry out cattle rustling from the neighboring Meru and the Maasai nations. It is estimated that the last raid was about around World War I times, yet around 1918, when Max Planck was being awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics for his discovery of energy quanta, which would later lead his son in physics, Albert Einstein, to generate his scintillating theories. My great grandfather's heart was pumping with adrenaline of laying an ambush. Of the fascinating theories by the great physicist, I'm yet to grasp them in this 21st century, 100 years later. Yet now I am a great grandson of a fierce warrior and now well versed in science. It is important for me to put that perspective clear so that it can be appreciated of where we were and where we are right now. For even Albert Einstein tells us that the difference between the present and the future is but a stubborn illusion that refuses to go away. Indeed, Africa has made some significant leaps forward, but comparatively, so have the Europeans made ultra remarkable leaps, outstanding, I might add, edifying the French saying, the more things change, the more they remain the same. They were ahead in the past, we were behind. Yet sometimes I feel, oh, be damned, O ye spirits of comparative analysis. For these spirits crowd our eyes of gratitude and celebrating our individual strides forward. For I have felt we are bogged down too hard, and I have hypothesized that if we could strive to win on our terms, have patience, draw our own blueprint instead of copying, our house will be as beautiful as theirs, if not better, if again that stubborn spirit of comparative analysis should persist. If we have independence, it means we have shared a dependence that we had earlier. But have we really? For I may assert that our dependence has deepened ever the more. The only thing is that it now gets beautiful baptismal names such as bilateral agreements, donations from our allies, donor funds, philanthropic foundation contributions, subsidized vaccines, and so forth. The only independence we have is the illusion of seeing a fellow black being in the helms of leadership, and nothing more. Yet these are puppet governors. Willing recently, they are on an abated trajectory of selling their land to 2 or 3 more masters using the same title deed. Indeed, we are selling Africa to the Chinese, Russians, and the Americans and the Europeans at the same time. I mean, how elating can the current debt spree be on Africans? How clever have the puppets become? It is such actions that hint that recolonization will be feasible when the great masters shall hold a conference to straighten our matters and even out this epicene corn. It is that at that moment that the African puppet governments shall know that the Pennine Hills in England separate northwest England from Yorkshire and northeast England. Indeed, whatever they shall decide will depend on how far the rate of attrition has mauled away their ethos of restraint when the raging wave of populism shall break at the coastline. Yet it must be ceded, it is not too late to have a turnaround in this continent and make things right. But as happened with Albert Einstein, we need a miracle year, annus mirabilis, for we have diced our chances for far too long, and we have ended with a mediocre piece of leadership that we deserve. Dawa ya deni ni kulipa. There is no nice iced cake to go up about repaying our chronic debt and amending our embarrassing habitual errors. We need to act now. We need to jumpstart this engine now and get motor cogs rolling to provide the much needed traction needed to overcome the gravity of procrastination, or else we will end up wondering how another dream will be rudely cut short by a stroke of a pen and a declaration of recolonization hanging on a pin somewhere in the great master's city. And we shall watch with guilt as we hand recolonization or re-enslavement to our generations, and our collective aspirations shall abruptly die out. Again, I have thought that perhaps the small letter uhuru, freedom or independence in Kiswahili, means urban hyped utter relic, usually, unfit halal urban races, usually, unfed honey apt rear's ankle, or unfed honey apt rhino unfit, or ankle hyped usually river urine, or urban honey usually roots unfit, or urban honey unset rocks ulnas, or unfit honey unset rocks ulnas. None sounds right, yet there is something of independence that has false roots in the urban setups of Africa. There is a deceptive hype or honey of seduction that curtails real change. Usually, is no way close of being halal in the Muslim terms. But if we can unset the vagaries and vanities, we can finally rock our ulnas, a symbolism to rejuvenate our limbs, legs and hands, and especially our hands, so that we can get to work, for we have been masters of talking for a long time now. Thank you very much as usual. This is Kogi Gitui. You can get my book in Amazon.com. Thank you.